The black Seminoles that settled in Mexico, particularly the ones that settled here in Nacimiento, were granted certain rights back in the 1850s for a particular set of reasons. They received land, they received supports from the government, and they received autonomy, which allowed them the ability to govern their own communities, have their own type of laws, as long as they assured the government that they would protect the border. At that time, the Apache tribes and Comanche tribes were raiding all along the border, and the United States was pretty much encroaching in the area, trying to get more and more land. And these guys settled here and ruthlessly defended the border. There are many recorded exploits of them chasing down Apache, Comanche, Americans, Texas Rangers. Their reputation did not even compare to what they really were. In fact, they defended that border so fiercely that after the Emancipation Proclamation, the United States military came knocking.
In 1870, the United States Army sent a message to the Black Seminoles chief, John Horse, inviting him to enlist with them to become Indian Scouts and help them fight the hostile Native Americans. They accepted, because they were promised repatriation, but they also believed that they would be granted land, food, provisions, and reimbursements for traveling costs. But there's one thing about promises made to the Black Seminoles from the U.S. government. Not a single one was ever kept.
You know, the amazing thing to me is that Mexico is really the only country or government that honored their promise. So out of the British, the Spanish, the Americans, the Mexicans were the only ones.
Despite this, the Black Seminoles fought fiercely alongside the Buffalo Soldiers, and not a single member of the Black Seminole Indian Scouts was killed or seriously injured despite all of their fights with hostile Native Americans. They never failed a mission, and several members received the highest honor in the military. After their services were no longer needed, they were kicked off the fort from which they had served and eventually settled in Brackenville, Texas.
So walking around the streets of El Nacimiento de los Negros, it's a very small community, a very tight-knit community, and very quiet, but walking through the streets, you see the signs of their history.
It's just really cool being here. This area it's Afro, this area is distinctively different. Again, we had to travel a long way from a very small town just to get here. It's remote, and you know why it's remote. Have you been back lately at all?
Yes, I go back every Juneteenth because of our Juneteenth celebration there. It is different. I was very surprised when I found out that we actually celebrate Juneteenth down there. When I started learning all the history, I was like, well, why do we celebrate it? You know, if our people freed themselves, you know, they liberated themselves. Right. It was that important to them. They decided to have that celebration. You know, we've always known that celebration as El Baile de los Negros, o El Día del Negro, o El 19. So
it's a day of honor. That's beautiful. Yeah. So it's in solidarity almost. It's
yes.
Like
and after all the people, like that woman said, who's the one that came to their aid? Mexico. Who's the one that kept their promise? Mexico. And who are the Mexicans? Alright? The ones of Indian descent. Who are they? They're Israelites, man. Alright? So-called white man never kept any of his promises. Okay? he's allergic to truth. You know? He'll make a promise, but he'll say it, but he won't keep it, man. He won't keep it. It's not within his nature to do that. He's a serpent, man. Alright, I'll show you he's a serpent. You see in that history, man. You know? But the great thing about the tribe Reuben, the Seminole Indians, alright, is that they didn't sit down with this guy and believe anything that he said, this, that, and the other. You know, women, you know, they didn't make hardly any treaties with him, but Gad, oh my gosh, Gad, over 400, and he broke them all. You know, you think after the first 2 or 3 you would stop, you know, but it was prophecy that those things had to happen, man. You know? It's prophecy. And that's why this truth is everything, because you know why us as a nation, why we are, well, why we have, and why we still are suffering. You know? And then you could address your problems. But if you just, the Lord blinds you from this truth, you don't know what's going on, you ain't got no chance, man. Okay? Is it 11? It's smoother than. Yeah, because his words were smoother than butter. His words were smoother than butter. Alright. His words are smoother than butter, man. But he didn't keep any of them peace treaties with God, man. Alright? That's why the tribe was like, nah, you know what? We're not going to make any treaties with this devil. It ain't worth it. And they fought hard. Alright? Alright? So, it's a good thing to know, because the way the so-called white man just presents history, it's just like we laid down and died. When actually, or they started slavery, but then they freed us. Which is all bullshit. Many times our people, through the power and spirit of Yahweh Shai, freed themselves. As you'll see in this story, man. This is history. Alright? Psalms 55 and 22. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. Alright? His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. You see? And that's what, and that's how they were. You saw that clip in the beginning where I showed you Sitting Bull speaking to that U.S. cavalry cracker, you know, and how arrogant he was. Alright? And that's how they are now, man. You go to and say to them, well, you know what happened back then in the past is affecting our people, you know, still to this day. They don't want to hear it, man. They'll say, oh, that's a long time ago, get over it, this, that, and the other, you know? Or they just drink a lot, they this, that, and the other. They never actually look at what they have done to destroy our people. And that's why they don't go away with anything, man. Alright? All this they've got to pay for, whether you coconuts like it or not.
Exactly. I also have a Casa de la Cultura there, and I'm wearing my shirt today. And so I go back for that a lot too, and other projects that I'm working on there.
I never knew about any black Seminoles coming over to Mexico. I never knew about it until maybe last year.
So our history starts in Africa. Our people were the people that would rather die than be enslaved. To just tell, you know, everything that our people did, because I just want those kids to know who our people were, the warriors that they were. They were brave, what they did. I want them to know what kind of people are their people, they come from.
So many people believe it was only one way, and that's not the way. That's not even the real way it was. We didn't just sit down and take it. We didn't just come over here and say, okay, we're just gonna be slaves. Yep, that's what we'll do.
Yeah.
You know? No, not hardly. So that is the main reason I'm telling the story, so people can get the real information, the honest information.
Like, we have people that we know that are getting involved, you know, especially here in the United States, just being native, you know, we're native, we're not black.
Yep.
So what all I have to say is to those people is, okay, you know, that's your story. This is my story, you know. If you're just native, then you're not part of the Black Seminoles. That's not something that I'm making up. We cannot tell our story and take away our blackness, our Africanness, our negro, you know, whatever it is that you want to call yourself, we cannot tell our story taking that away.
Throughout this video, we have been diving into the cultural heritage and influences of the Black Mascojos, or the Black Seminoles. And it's so interesting because it's this mix of like American indigenous, it's a mix of African, and now that they've been settled here in Mexico for a while, it's a mix of Mexican also. It's really interesting to dive into and reminded me of diving into my own culture and history. We recently took DNA tests with my heritage to
we don't need to know. We don't need DNA tests to know who we are, man. What you need to know is prophecy, you know? So it's not the way Esau likes to tell it. Esau likes to tell that, oh yeah, well, you know, that we just gave up, you know, we submitted. No, man. And if you look at the Seminole Indians, right? This is a tribe of Reuben. Many of them have what? If you look in their pictures, they have something called a mitri. Okay? There you go. They have, you know, they wear a mitri, or like people call turban. All right? And where does that come from? Of course, it comes from the Heavenly Father. All right? That's from our heritage, man. Wearing mitris, you see. And also they had fringes. If you look at Gadites as well, they have fringes with the border blue. All right. Yeah, there you go. If you look at if you look at Native Americans and Seminole Indians, many of them have these kind of what's called garments, and it will always, there you go, there's the fringes there, and then you see the border of blue. All right, and where's that from? That's from Numbers, man. All right. So the clip that I just showed you about, all right, is a lot of, it's not just the tribe of Reuben. The tribe of Reuben was involved in that history, but also many of them were Benjamin, Levi, Judah, coming down to the south for freedom, meeting up with the Reubenites, you know, who are the Seminole Indians. And remember, they don't know that they're both Israelites and they're part of the same people, but they help each other. And then the only place that gives them real refuge, at first it was, Florida, but after they sold it, all right, after the Spanish sold it to America, all right, where else do they get refuge? Mexico. You know, and who are the Mexicans? All right, the ones of Indian descent is who? Tribe Issachar. You see? Mercy from your own people. Okay, and that's what's going to happen again in these last days, man. All right, the more chaotic things get, the more the 12 tribes of Israel is going to come together. And it's going to be a beautiful thing, man. You know, I won't lie, it's going to be a great thing to see, especially when these race riots are popping off, man. You know? Numbers 15 and 38. Speak unto the children of Israel, alright? To the children of Israel, no one else. And bid them that they make them fringes in the border of their garments throughout their generations, and they put upon the fringe of the borders a ribbon of blue. And that's what you see here in the picture. Oops. That's what you see here. The pictures of their garments, man. Border of blue. Fringes at the end. Alright. And these are supposed to remind you of the law, statute, commandments. You know, and do them. And ironically, that's the reason why, alright, the Heavenly Father did all this to us. Alright, did it to the tribe of Reuben, who are the Seminole Indians, did it to the tribe of Gad, alright, who are the Native Americans, and did that to the tribe of Judah, who are the African Americans. Alright, all of us are getting punished because we did not keep these laws, statute, commandments. But it's all in their attire. See, the tribe of Gad, someone's been doing their homework. See, fringes and a border of blue. Okay? So they knew, especially the people at the top in America, they knew who these tribes were, man. Alright? And I think there was one, this guy, Andrew Jackson, the Indian killer, they were smashing through a Native American village, pillaging, and they found a stone there, man. Alright? And it had a Paleo-Hebrew writing on it. Alright? And he made a statement. I think I can try and find it, actually. Let me see if I can find it. Alright. Andrew Jackson quote. Wait. Let me see if I can find it. I remember this years ago. Yeah, that's it. Now this demon, Andrew Jackson, right? Alright. This guy, alright, the Indian killer, you know, that did the Indian removal act and all this wickedness. He's on a $20 bill. You know, this, that, and the other. As I said, if I could remember the article, I would have looked it up. But this guy, I remember he was going, or him or someone under him was pillaging a Native American village, and they found that stone, man, and it had Paleo-Hebrew on it. And remember, these crackers back then thought that they were doing God's work, man. All right, and they found out from that Paleo-Hebrew that these people are actually Hebrews. That they're not savages. All right, and then he made this quote. He made his famous statement. All right. Let's see here. The quote here is by Andrew Jackson. It says, "I tremble for my country when I remember that the enemies of liberty are so many and not unfrequent, that the people are so unthinking, is not by Andrew Jackson, but by Thomas Jefferson." Hang on, no, this is not the quote I want. Wait, let me try and find it. He said, "I tremble for my nation." I think he said, "I tremble for my nation, because God is just." I think it was that one. You try and think. Alright, let's see what it says here. Yeah, this is it. Yeah. Is it him? Hang on, let me see here. "I tremble for my country." He said something like that. Hang on, yeah, this is it. The quote: I tremble for my nation, because God is just." Alright? God is just. Alright? And it says, is widely attributed to the third president, Thomas Jefferson, not Andrew Jackson. Alright? Well, as far as I know, I think it was Andrew Jackson that said it. But anyway, maybe I was wrong. But I remember watching this documentary, and when one of his people were smashing up a village, they found this stone. Alright, and let me try and find that. Native American stone with Hebrew. Yeah, there you go. Alright, that's it. It's called a Back Creek Stone. That's it. So Salaki for that. Alright. See the Back Creek Stone. So they found this while they were rummaging and pillaging, and then they took it to this demon Andrew Jackson. All right, the so-called Indian killer. All right, now he, I think it was he the one that made that statement that I tremble for my nation, that God is just, because I think when the authorities found that stone, they looked at it and it's like, hang on, what is this? And this is Hebrew, and this has been on, you know, the lands of America, all right, for, you know, for millennia, for centuries, all right. It was way here before you so-called white people were there. So he looked at it, all right. You noticed that it was Hebrew, and then they dashed it in a museum somewhere because they didn't want people to find out that these people were Hebrew Israelites, and that's what they are. All right, the tribe of Reuben, who are Seminole Indians, they're so-called runaways, they're Hebrew Israelites. So-called Native Americans, who you call savages, all right, they're Hebrew Israelites from the tribe of Gad. All right, Seminole Indians are Hebrew Israelites from the tribe of Reuben. All right, and you blacks are Israelites from the tribe of Judah. Okay, that's how much they didn't want to get this information out. They just dashed it in a damn museum, man. Locked it away. All right. So there's been a lot of deception going on, and that's what the so-called white man does. He's just fulfilling his role on the planet Earth. But us, that the Lord has given us eyes to see, all right, we see through all of this. But what if you look at that whole documentary, all right, that it shows you about so-called black Seminoles, you know, our people that mixed, and they were the same people, but they just mixed together, you know what I mean, because they were being oppressed by the same devil, okay, the same devil. That reminds me, hang on, let me get this there. And well, what was the answer? All right, that they got freedom. They got freedom by basically coming together. Rather than fight each other, they fought their real enemy. And that's gonna, history's gonna repeat itself. All right, this is Zephaniah 2:1. Okay, Zephaniah 2:1. Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together. All right, O nation, and we are part of a nation not desired. All right, and even those so-called civilized tribes that gave up and assimilate with the white man, all right, even he treated them like shit. They're still under his yoke. All right, so what is the solution? Gather yourselves together, O nation not desired. And that's going to happen in these last days, man. Our people are going to come together and fight their real enemy rather than fight each other. Okay, but remember, what it is amazing story, because it shows you that history, all right, is really written by the victor, or is suppressed by the victor. Either way, you know. But at the end of the day, what is the Lord going to do to the enemies of the nation of Israel? They're going to have to reap exactly what they sowed, man. All right, and when that America is obliterated, everything that happened to us, all right, is going to be given double onto our enemies, man. Okay, this is not a game. It's not this might happen or whatever. It's going to happen, man. All right, it's going to happen because Yahweh Shai has spoken it and ordained it, man. And any of you niggas that go against that, whatever tribe you're from, man, all right, you're gonna get put to death, and Lord willing, you'll be put to death by your master that you love. All right. This is Revelations 18:5. All right, and talking about America. All right, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High have remembered her iniquities. So the Heavenly Father is going to remember the iniquities of this devil, his country, all right, Babylon the Great, which is our land of our captivity, the so-called white man, all right. Why should you have a problem with it? If you're a part of a people that are oppressed, And now the Lord is saying, you know what, in the very near future, don't worry about it. All right? They're not going to get away with anything. All right? Their sins have reached onto heaven. And the Heavenly Father is going to remember all the sins that they've done. They're going to reap what they sow. What is wrong with that? You know? And I guarantee you, our people back then that you saw in that whole struggle to get, you know, through Florida, you know, out into Mexico, back then, if you told them that this cracker, all right, is going to get double what he done to us, he's going to be our slave, they'd be happy. But integration has destroyed our people, man. That's one of the worst. That's why even Martin Luther King, he made a statement. He said, I've led my people into a burning house. And that was a great analogy, because America is a house and it's going to be burnt. All right, when Yahweh Seminoles destroys that place, man. When he sends his son to destroy that place, and then nukes will finish the job. All right, her iniquities, and God will remember her iniquities. All right, verse 6. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works. So they're going to get double. All right, raping women, you know, making promises that you can't. And it ain't like, look, there was trains, planes, and automobiles back then. No, man. Walking them people down in a trail of tears. You know, you Israelites that stick up for them, you've got no shame, man.